Your book is called Company Rules, or Everything I Know About Business I Learned from the CIA. Can you talk about it and talk maybe a little bit, as much as you can, about your business? Because you've got offices here in London, you're in the States, you're in Mexico, Lord knows what other countries you're in, Mike. But tell me, what's business like and what's the book about?
Sure. Thank you for mentioning it. It's an audio book. It's on Scribd, Scribd, the Netflix of books, the Scribd platform, and it's an audio book, which it's because I don't know enough big words to write a real book. But it's essentially, it's not about my time with the agency. It's that when I got out of the outfit, I had to do something, right? Too young to retire, and so went into business, which a lot of people thought was a very stupid move on my part. I had no business experience. And I learned, or I realized after a while, that part of the reason we were able to keep the business moving forward was because of some of the ideas that I'd taken away from the agency, right? So what I call company rules. And it's not written in stone. They don't give you a manual titled company rules when you join the agency. And I think a lot of folks who spend time there, great people, would have their own set of rules, right? These happen to be mine. And so they're basically just guiding principles that I think, frankly, I use when I'm dealing with my kids, I use in general life, but I found that they were very helpful navigating business and trying to start and create and build a business and then make sure that it, keeps a pulse. Over all these years. So that's a synopsis of it. My company it's an intelligence and security firm called Portman Square Group, and we're in Washington and New York and London and Mexico, Monterrey, Mexico City, Chicago, I forget where else. And it's basically strategic intelligence and a variety of security services, due diligence, and investigative support, and all the people. That's probably the most rewarding thing. I don't recall if I mentioned it in the book, I should have, is that the most rewarding thing about starting a business and then keeping it going is really the people. I've got people that have been with me now for 17 years, right? And they've raised families now within the company. And that's, I don't want to sound all touchy-feely, but that's been really rewarding.
Just working with those people, and now they're kind of like family and everybody in a mission together.
Yeah, and they're as equally invested in the business and the work product and the reputation and doing the right thing. So it's been, but I mean the rules themselves are pretty straightforward. But they're things like know your operating environment, right? And that's in operational terms, when you're out in the field and you're working in my old job, that was pretty critical to know your operating environment, particularly when you were in a hostile area. In business, it's equally important, right? Whatever we're doing, whether we're talking about know your operating environment from a sector perspective or from a jurisdiction, a location, whether talking about your competitors, whether you're talking about knowing who your shareholders, your advisors are, potential clients. I mean, there's a lot to it. So what I found was that a lot of these ideas that were, from my perspective, critical to having success within the CIA, they just transferred, and I didn't even realize it for a while. And then when I did, I started writing down some notes, and eventually we ended up with this book.
Excellent. And what's the culture like, in your company in comparison to like the CIA? Because there's I caught this Netflix show out recently, and I think it's like this young guy who's like a lawyer at the CIA, and it's a little over the top, but it sounds like this really cagey, wacky, culture in there of people kind of not trusting each other, worried about taking the bag, but also trying to work together to get the bad guys. And it really looked weird. Is the CIA have a weird culture? Can you comment on that?
No, I know the show you're talking about. I can't remember the title of it, but my wife's had me sit down a couple of times and watch it. Apparently, I'm a very difficult person to sit next to when I'm watching a show based on espionage or spy, because I sit there and I eventually just start shifting around and making noises, and then eventually I get up and walk away disgusted. But
so you weren't impressed.
What's that?
You weren't impressed by their narrative.
It's not that I'm not impressed. I tend to, I tend to be a difficult person to sit and watch shows like that with. It's just the agency itself. I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. I'm one of those people that came out of it, had a great ride. I really enjoyed it. I love the people I worked with, the experiences. Sometimes you'd walk away from something, you go, nobody else on the planet is doing this right now, and so it gives you at a relatively young age a tremendous amount of responsibility, and particularly in the operations side of things, where I was. And so for the right person, it's a fantastic place to be. And you could say the same thing about MI6 or 5 or really any service, I suppose, like that. But the reality is that it's a bureaucracy. There's no doubt about it. When you're in operations and you're operating overseas, you don't feel that much, right? I mean, it exists. There's a machine out there that's churning away, right? And you're part of that. But you do have this incredible level of responsibility. I remember when I was young, just thinking, God, really? You're going to let me do this? And it was fantastic. And so, but you learn how to make decisions. One of the things in one of the rules in the book is called get off the X. And the X in security or operational sense is an ambush site, right? So you don't want to be on the X, but when you get on the X, you got to get off it, right? You got to recognize it, right? The goal is obviously to recognize the indicators of a potential ambush site and avoid it. But if you don't, then you have to make decisions quickly. And in business terms, transferring it over to the private sector now, what I mean by get off the X is you have to make decisions quickly, right? You have to take imperfect information and make a decision. It's never like a Tom Clancy book or a movie where you have all the details you want. Oh, and then the director says, well, this is what we're going to do. Or the guy out in the field says, yes, this is what we're going to do because now we have all the details. You never have all the details. And if you wait to have all the details, something bad's going to happen. So the idea is you just start, and the agency is very good at teaching you how to do that, how to make decisions quickly and with imperfect information. And that turned out to be a very important part of business. And so anyway, but the company, the Portman Square Group, I think one of the things I took away from the agency was to explain the mission and then get the hell out of the way. As long as you've hired the right people, hire smart people. Hopefully it's not hard when it's me. I can hire people smarter than me. And then you explain the mission, and then you get out of the way and you let them do what they're capable of doing, right? And in our case, we got very creative people, terrific at eliciting information, terrific at research and data mining, terrific at investigations, all those things. And they don't need me, micromanaging things. So I think we've created a company where people at an early age, this is the comparison to the agency, get a lot of responsibility. Right? And they get a chance to do a variety of things. And that's why, in part, I think we've been successful in an industry that tends to have a lot of movement. We've been successful at keeping people for a long time because we created that environment.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and financial freedom for everyone else around the world. Get involved in the cryptocurrency markets, get involved in the NFT markets. This is your moment. Life all comes down to a few moments. Don't let this pass. Now it's not too late. Next year's going to be too late. Ultimately, this is about freedom. That's the way I see it. This is about giving power back to the people and enabling billions of people worldwide to use the financial markets to improve their lives and those of their friends and their families and their communities. Honestly, I think it's a violation of human rights not to allow people basic access to financial services. Because right now people are being kept in the dark, they're being robbed of education, and it's a travesty. And so I'm looking for people that want to join me and be a part of this solution. And that all happens inside the DeFi Academy. The gains my students are making are absolutely amazing. Double, triple digit gains in the first month alone. That's amazing. This will change your life. Now is the time to get involved. I'm going to tell you exactly how my students in my academy made money in the last 30 days. I'm talking about real trading results. And let me just whet your appetite a little bit. Let me hit you with some numbers. I'm talking Brendan from New Zealand is up 68.77% on the month. Steve from Europe up 83%. Albert in Singapore up 169.9% on one single trade. I got Susan up 153% on her call options alone, also rocking 139% returns and 442% returns as well on individual trades. These are people that are changing their financial future in the last 30 days, but it's based on trading discipline. I've graduated over 500 students from inside my academy from over 54 countries around the world. It's amazing. When it comes to crypto, DeFi, and blockchain, we love this space. We truly believe it's the future. This is down to our core. It's authentic to what we're doing, and everybody can tell through the camera because you can't make this stuff up. If you're watching me now, wherever you are, I implore you, take 60 seconds right now and join my academy. Apply today. Now you've got a chance. Life all comes down to a few moments. What are you going to do? What's the choice that you're going to make?